Alright, hello everyone. Tonight we're going to talk about fraction division. In particular, we're going to really get into the conceptual side of things, and we'll talk a little bit from there about how to sort of follow the steps to make problem solving with division a lot easier. So like I said, to start conceptually, let's think about this problem here where we have 1/6 and that's divided by 3. So let's say we have, this could be a pizza perhaps, and we've got 1/6 of it. So I'm drawing my pizza, cut into 6ths, and this right here is my 1/6. Okay, now of that 1/6, we have decided that we're going to split it into thirds. So what I've got left is this right here. Now if I think about this in terms of the whole pizza, what fraction of the whole pizza do I have? Well, if I were to extend these lines here, what I have essentially done is I have divided my pizza up not into thirds or into 6, but it is now divided into 1/18ths, because each of those 6 sections is divided now into 3 smaller sections, giving us 18 total sections. So this section that I've colored in here is just 1/18th of my original pizza. But notice that 1/18th is the same as if we were to say 1/6 times 1/3. So in other words, 1/6 times 1/3 is the same as saying 1/6 divided by 3. Okay? Now, what we're going to call these numbers here, 1/3 and 3, is we're going to say that they are reciprocals of each other. And the reason this works the way it does is because if you were to take 1/3 times 3 over 1, you're going to get 3 over 3, which is 1. So because these are reciprocals of each other, then multiplying by 1 is the same as dividing by the other. Now let's try a couple of examples of other numbers where we can find just the reciprocal. So our first example here is pretty simple. When you go to find the reciprocal, it's found by dividing 1 by the original number. So in other words, 1 divided by 5/9. That would really just give us 9 over 5. It's really the same as flipping the fraction upside down. Okay? Now here we've got a mixed number, and that's a little bit more tricky because we've got a whole number there to start with. So before we can do anything by finding the reciprocal, we need to first turn this into an improper fraction. So let's remember that 3 1/2 is really the same as saying, well, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7, so that would be 7/2, and the reciprocal is 2 7ths. 1/8, on the other hand, is much easier to flip. It becomes 8 over 1, which you guys know is just 8. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to do now is to work on the actual steps for solving a division problem. Now there's one important thing that I want you guys to remember. So I'm going to put a star here, and I want you guys to write this down with me. And that is that dividing fractions is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So for instance, with this first problem here, we've got 3/8, and that gets divided by 1/2, or we could say we can multiply by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1. So if I work that out, 3 times 2 is 6, 8 times 1 is 8, and that can simplify to 3/4. Now, our other problem here is a little bit more complicated. Mixed numbers and whole numbers really look a lot more challenging, but they can really just be turned into an improper fraction to make our lives a little bit easier. So if we write 2 1/5 as an improper fraction, it's going to come out to 11/5. And we're dividing that by 3. Now we can rewrite that as 11/5 times 1/3. Now, using our standard multiplication algorithm, 11 times 1 is 11, and 5 times 3 is 15, so what I'm left with is 11/15.